Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again. My name is Krenat, and today we're going to talk about what I learned from watching a lot of Chris Buck videos. So if you don't know who Chris Buck is, you're probably living under a rock, so get out of the rock and just type Chris Buck on YouTube and prepare to be amazed. Chris Buck is what I would consider a modern guitar hero because his style of playing has influenced a lot of people around the world. And that's very noticeable when you check posts on Instagram or on YouTube from guitar players. They tend to do what Chris Buck does, whether that would be intentional or not. They do it, and I think it's all because of Chris Buck, because his influence is very big. As you heard in the beginning, I was playing a loop that I created on the HX Stomp of Red Bone by Childish Gambino. And that's a track that Chris Buck did a solo improvisation on, and it was really successful. But if you listen to my take and if you listen to Chris' take, it's not going to sound the same because, let's face it, I don't have the hands of Chris Buck and he's going to sound like him all the time and I'm going to sound like a poor version of him. But what you can definitely hear is his influence on my playing. So I was trying to do those half-step bends and those unexpected bends that he does out of nowhere. But I still want it to contain a part of me so it will sound like me and not just like Chris Buck. Because remember, we're not trying to sound like someone else, we're trying to build our own voice on the guitar. That's the main goal. So let's break it down and let's see what we can take from Chris Buck's playing and incorporate that in our playing. Well, the first thing that he's very known for is his bends. Before we do anything else, we need to start practicing on our bending. Well, the first step is to practice whole tone bends. The second step is to practice half tone bends. And if you're done with that and if you're comfortable with playing those bends, then you can start to mess around with a tone and a half bends. So the best way to practice bending, for example, a full step note, is play the target note, go down 2 frets, and try to bend the note in tune. Something like this. Now the goal here is to bend the note without any vibrato and just hang on there as long as you can and just try to hear that the note is in tune. Now the same thing goes for half step bends. Just pick a target note, go down 1 fret, and try to bend it in tune. Something like this. Again, no vibrato, nothing like that. Just hang on there as much as you can and try to hear if the note is in tune. Now, another thing that Chris Buck is very known for using is a tone and a half bends, which sounds something like this. And he modulates this with his fingers, and it just sounds very vocal and very musical, and that's what I love about his playing. So after you're done practicing bending and you think you got everything under your fingers, it's time to find the places where you can bend. So it's time to find the notes that you can bend a half step or a whole step. Now the best way to practice and find these notes is to take it one step at a time. So for example, we're in D minor and let's stick to the famous pentatonic box and see where we can find these bends and like play them and see how they make us feel. Like for example, I know where these bends are because I've played a lot. And I don't know the theory behind it, but if you do know the theory behind it, it's just going to make it better. It's just going to make more sense. I'm also trying to learn some theory, but we're not going to cover that with this video. So let me just show you where I find these notes. For example, I know this sounds good. Automatically, a half step bend from this note is going to sound good. And it's going to sound like this. Which is totally acceptable for this scale. So let's say we have a lick that sounds something like this. Now what we can do is we can actually bend the flat minor third to the actual minor third, and it's going to sound like this. Another example would be this lick right here. Now instead of playing all those notes, we can bend the first note. Now in regards to those subtle movements and those small intricate bends that Chris Buck does, I actually uploaded a video last week called How to Make Simple Lines Sound Much Better. So you can check that out if you're interested on that. And another thing that is pretty huge that Chris Buck does is this augmented thing, but I'm not going to cover that in today's video because it's going to be very long. And I also didn't play that in the intro solo, but he does this thing before he goes to the one chord, one minor. He does this augmented thing. It sounds like this. And it's very cool, but it's a broad topic and we're going to cover that in another video. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you like what you saw, if you think you got something out of it, please consider subscribing, leave a like, and leave a comment under the comment section down below. I thank you for your time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.